Hello again. Today I want to talk about something a little bit unique, but still does affect one's personal finances for sure. And more important than that, it affects your personal family, which I would contend is way more important than your personal finances. So, without further delay, I kind of just want to get directly into this. I think that one of the biggest things that our kids or our families are going to be facing over the course of the next couple years is the idea of going to college and how they're going to interact with our society and our workplaces overall. So I've seen multiple articles and multiple examples of layoffs occurring directly because of AI, right? And I have no idea how many we're talking about right now. I have no idea to what extent this will unravel over the course of the next, I don't know, year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. But I just kind of want to keep this as something that's on the forefront of our mind because I think that it's intimately related with our finances and some of the decisions that we make, and specifically some of the decisions that I help clients think through and make. And I am facing this personally myself right now as well because I have a child that's 17 years old. So, without further delay, let's get into this. Meta, or Facebook, is currently trying to cut or is cutting 10% of its workforce. That amounts to 8,000 employees. And then they're also planning to close 6,000 open roles. So that is really, in essence, almost 20% of its workforce because the 10% was the 8,000 employees. If you look down here further in this article, they have about 80,000 people there. So 8,000 would be the 10%, 6,000 would be on top of that. So roughly, I don't know, 15 to 20% of their workforce is going bye-bye, or their anticipated workforce, which, I know we'd think about this and say, oh, this doesn't affect me. I don't know anyone who works there, but this does affect us all. These white collar jobs are jobs that are going to affect our kids when they graduate from college. Listen, I know this is crazy to think about, but college is a 4-year degree for most people. And in our society today, these days, there are a lot of jobs that you can't even get through and get a degree in 4 years that would qualify you for a lot of these good jobs, right? So some of them are 5, 6. Obviously, there are many that are 8, 10, 12 years that you would be, or your kids would be in school and have unknown variables about whether that job will even exist after you graduate. Okay. So if you're going to school for tech, you're going to school for marketing, you're going to school for teaching, you're going to school for really anything that's not 100% hands on, this is a tough decision. I mean, we're talking about a ton of money. So my kids, my oldest child has been visiting colleges over the course of the last, I don't know, 1 year, maybe even a little more, a little less than that. I don't know. And these colleges, not state colleges, but these private colleges cost anywhere between 35 and 55, maybe $60,000 a year. Now, obviously, there's scholarships that factor into that, so that's the retail price. But I mean, $50,000. Let's say you get that cut in half, $25,000 a year times 4 years. You're talking about $100,000 for something that, I mean, these job layoffs are completely unannounced, right? When Meta, when Google, when Apple, when all these tech companies who are going to be on the leading forefront of not only employers, but they control a boatload of the wealth, the income, the money, the assets that's in our society, and we have no idea when these job cuts are going to come, how long this is going to last, where the bottom's going to be. This is a really, really big deal. Okay. I don't have the answer, but I can tell you firsthand experience. I build houses on the side, right? So occasionally I will do a spec house. And that means once every year, once every however often I have an Amish crew at my house, I will occasionally see my Amish framers' children out working with him. The first I noticed this was around the age of 13. He had his son who was out there helping frame a house. And listen, I'm not trying to be rude when I say this. I'm not trying to rip on any profession. I'm not trying to rip on any people group. But, it, you know, I got to sit here and scratch my head and kind of question what industry or what people group has this game figured out the best. And, I'm not saying that the Amish have this figured out with not keeping their kids in public education for as long as many people do. But to me, hands on jobs are probably going to exist much, much longer than a lot of these white collar, desk oriented jobs, making videos. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's changing over the course of the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years. I have no clue what it's going to look like, but here's my 2 cents. I would teach your kids about this. Start young, educate them as to how other careers do it, right? So think about my daughter has a friend right now who's going to cosmetology school her senior year. She's going to graduate with a cosmetology quote unquote degree, license, whatever you want to call it, that she could then sit for her test and possibly be able to do hair, do other things kind of right away. That's an example of getting hands-on training in high school that you can do something right after you graduate that I don't know, maybe AI will take over doing hair and doing that physical nature job, but maybe that's something that AI can't take over. And maybe that's something that we could take note of and say, hey, you could get this job before you graduate. Maybe we could go to college then to teach about how you turn hair into a business, right? So maybe an additional year job shadowing someone would even help with that. So maybe we could teach someone how to not only do the hair, but maybe acquire the real estate, hire other hairdressers, and start a little, business of a hair salon rather than just doing the hair and being chained to her job all the time. Maybe she could kind of do a little bit of both, do some hair, be kind of a business owner. That's just an example. Framing would be another example. The last guy my daughter was dating started doing HVAC, right? I have a couple clients that own HVAC and plumbing businesses. Is that going to be a wave of the future? And as we probably all know, HVAC, electricians, plumbers, they are trained on the job. Okay. Usually you don't go to school for this. You're trained by job shadowing. Usually the owner or another employee, and you learn on the job, right? And, maybe HVAC and electrical work will be taken over by a robot sometime in the future. I tell you what, to me, it seems like robotics doing physical work is a long time away. Now, maybe it's not. I could easily see how it wouldn't be, but to me, that's how it seems. And to me, it seems like a lot of these white collar jobs, well, they're already going away, right? Look at this. I can't tell you how many of these I've seen, but I bet this is at least the 10th one I've seen in the last 2 years. So I would just encourage us all to challenge ourselves, challenge our kids to think very thoroughly about what you're going to do. Think very thoroughly about how much revenue you're going to make. I was at one of my job or my college visits just last week, actually, and I was talking to a nursing professor at the school. And the nursing professor told me about some additional things that you could add on to your nursing degree that were more health sciences and education about something that wasn't going to gain you anything whatsoever at all. It was going to be just basically an awareness factor that you could have of some sort of empathetic feeling that they could teach you how to contrive in the coursework. And I looked at her and I kind of politely tried to ask, how would that benefit your customer, which is the student? Like, I understand that they're going to be more empathetic. I understand that they're going to be able to help maybe patients better and soothe their mental anguish better. But in reality, why would you take more classes in college paying this absurd amount of tuition for something that's going to gain you nothing in life? Now, it's all subjective, right? Learning and college. But in my opinion, picking up an additional major would be much more beneficial than picking up an additional line item on a degree that's going to gain you very little. So we really need to give a lot more thought to what we are allowing our children to be educated on, what careers they'll be going into, what the future of that career is. These are all massive expenses to your family. College is a huge expense to your net worth if you're going to be paying this out of your pocket. And if you're not, it's a huge expense to your child's net worth because they're likely going to be taking on debt for a very long time period. And that just doesn't make sense if you're obtaining something that you can't fully use for very long and doesn't have a lifespan that would allow the debt to be serviced. So, bottom line, rethink your framework on college and put it, I guess I would say, updated to the 21st century and AI as we see it changing our society. I don't have the specific answers as to how things are going to look in the future, but all this stuff I can tell you for sure has a massive, massive impact on your family's wealth and finances. And this is an important decision to kind of think thoroughly through before you enter your college experience. Think thoroughly through the majors, right? Social work is no longer a major that anyone can major in unless they're financially independent to begin with. You cannot go into social work and think that you can pay your college debt and that you can live a normal life how most people would want. Social work has now became, pastoral work, which, it's not really fair, but it is what it is. So anyways, hope you are well and have a good one.